You are listening to the Next Gen Jets show. Now, here are your hosts Connor Long, Chris Grasso, Jack Cotter, and Josh Woolever.
Yes, you are, in fact, to the Next Gen Jets show, streaming live right here.
You are listening to the Next
YouTube and Twitter. What is going on, New York Jet fans? Hello, everyone. Welcome into the shows. We come to you guys live right here on this Sunday evening, November 16th, 2025. Thank you all for joining us. Be sure to drop down below, smash the like button, hit subscribe. That is the free way to support us and what we are doing right here on the channel. We appreciate the hell out of you guys. We appreciate your support. As always, again, smash the like button, hit subscribe, get your super chats in. Those will cut the line. Gifted memberships, the other paid way to help support us on the show. Your questions, your comments, your thoughts. Also throw all of those in the live chat for us to engage with, for us to interact with. We appreciate your support. As always, Josh, no game for the Jets today. They play on Thursday night, a mini bye week for the team. 10 days of rest before they play the Baltimore Ravens in Maryland to beat the Cleveland Browns today in what was actually a thrilling game. We saw some Shedeur Sanders action at the end of it. We didn't have the Jets ruin our Sunday. They ruined our Thursday night. So we got to enjoy some games. And the games, I mean, I want to hear what you guys have to say in the chat and everything. Throw all your questions, your comments, your thoughts in the chat. I want to hear what people have to say about today's slate of games. But in particular, the 1 o'clock games, I think for the Jets to not play on Sunday and just to be a pure football fan and enjoy football today was one of the better days.
Absolutely. As I forget who it was. Someone told me yesterday, I get good news, Josh. The Jets don't ruin Sunday this week with a loss. And I said, abso-freaking-lutely, get to enjoy some high-quality football. I think my favorite game was Bucs-Bills. Unfortunately, I was playing against Josh Allen on fantasy, so that didn't work out perfectly for me. I think he dropped like 45 points.
Yeah.
So that'll probably go down as a loss in that book. But got to enjoy a stress-free Sunday. You're right. Feels like a little bit of a bye week. And all in all, man, it was a very odd Thursday night.
Yeah.
But you're right. A little bit of a free weekend to just be a red zone kind of guy.
Yeah, absolutely. I was lucky because I had Josh Allen and Baker going in my same league. It was my super flex league where we have two quarterbacks, and my two QBs were Baker and Josh.
What rounds were those picks? Those are hot
It's a dynasty league, a team that I inherited this year, so I have no clue. These were picks made like 5-7 years ago when these guys first entered the league initially. So yeah, my team is doing pretty solid in there, and it's a team that you only draft the rookies each year in Dynasty when you have like a full turnover.
Gotcha.
My rookies are doing pretty well. Who I drafted, I took Tet.
Yes,
I took Tet in the first round, and actually, so I didn't take the other two rookies. So in the league, there are 3 rounds of the rookie draft, and that's my apologies. I didn't have Baker on my initial team. I traded my 2nd and 3rd round pick coupled with Justin Fields in August in exchange for Baker Mayfield.
That's a steal.
That was a steal at the time. Yeah, so I just didn't take
half. He's an
two other
MVP
rookies.
candidate.
Yeah, I mean, my team is pretty good. I have Garrett Wilson, who's unfortunately on IR. I have a lot of really, really good players who are consequently just banged up. I have James Conner. I have Joe Burrow. So my team is pretty solid. And I wish we could say the same about the New York Jets. But when you talk about Thursday night's game, Josh, they were just outmatched. The Patriots are a way better football team. They are more polished. They are better coached. They are more talented. They deserve to win on Thursday night. But I agree with kind of the opening sentiment that you laid out there, Josh. Like, it was kind of a weird game because there was no point where I felt that the Jets were just getting outclassed, that we're getting blown out of the waters. Patriots are a way better team, but the Jets had the lead in this game. The Jets only lost by 13 points. People are going to criticize the defense, and I gave my kind of opening thoughts on this game yesterday. People are going to criticize the defense. The defense wasn't great, but looking at what they were dealing with, all the injuries that they had, their first real matchup without Quentin Williams and Sauce Gardner, I thought the defense played relatively well going up against a quarterback in Drake May, who's currently the front runner to take home the league's MVP award. He's shredded apart some really, really solid defenses this year. And look, he was certainly threading the needle against the Jets, but you're going to expect that when you have a four-man rush at times of Tyler Barron, Michael Clemens, Harrison Phillips, and Jawan Briggs,
Yep.
while your starting cornerbacks are Jarvis Brownlee, who surrendered 3 penalties and allowed over 70 yards in coverage, alongside Quantez Stiggers and Brandon Stevens. Brandon Stevens actually played a pretty good game. The point being the Jets were just completely depleted on the defensive side of things. I went back and I rewatched a few plays on the All-22. I did my whole game rewatch on Friday. And then yesterday I went back and I just wanted to get a second look at some plays. And one of the biggest things I noticed defensively didn't even have to do with a play. It was a moment that I laughed at. Remember, Josh, when Quantez Stiggers and Tony Adams were going up for that interception?
Yep, interception, and they both drop it.
They collided. So that clearly should have been a Quantez Stiggers pick. He never.
And they had so much room to work with it had they gotten.
They had so much room to work with. That was like a 40-plus yard passing attempt. And Tony Adams fully broke it up. And the part that drove me crazy so much, Josh, was Tony Adams, so tone deaf, got up and started celebrating. Like
laughable. It's laughable.
They collided. He was the reason the Jets didn't come up with an interception in that moment. And he got up and started celebrating a pass break. I like it. You can't make it up. Like, it's moments like this that just continue to fill the same old Jets headline. And I'll ask you this, Josh. When you talk about the performance from this offense, from Justin Fields in particular, how different do you think this game is potentially should Aaron Glenn have turned to Tyrod Taylor in the second half? Do you think it would have been significant? Would it have made a difference at all? How would you kind of view a halftime quarterback change?
Yeah, I think overall, like what you mentioned there, it was a weird game between the Jets looking competent on offense in the first half. By the way, none of that to do with Justin Fields' quarterback play. You saw a lot of Breece Hall, a lot of holes opened up by the offensive line, extra effort running. I thought this team looked well coached, should I say, in the first half. So I think hindsight 2020, Justin Fields finished with how many passing yards shy of 150?
I think 167. I'll check.
Okay.
It was over 150.
Whatever inflated it was by the end of the game.
116.
But I think that compared to some of these other efforts Justin Fields has given you, his second half was brutal, but the first half wasn't bad enough for you to say that. What were they down 7 at the half? I believe it was after a missed field goal. So down 7 to a team that goes on to be the first team to 9 wins in the league isn't too bad. So I think Aaron Glenn was just thinking, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But at the end of the day, I think should you have turned to Tyrod Taylor there, the outcome of the game is no different. Maybe he leads you on one more scoring drive there in that fourth quarter, but I don't think that's enough to turn the tides and say the Jets have a significant chance at winning that game.
The biggest problem for me is the Jets turned away from his legs. That's what was working so well for Justin Fields. That's why
they tried to mix it up too much.
Scored on the first possession of the game. It's not even mixing it up for me, Josh. It's just the fact that they turned away from what was working. I love the play calling for the most part out of Tanner Angstrand. He was getting creative. He was innovative. He was mixing it up. But as it pertains to Justin Fields, you had something going on the ground. The ground game was working with Fields. And then they turned away from it.
Yep.
And everything went downhill. I think the Jets have to start Tyrod Taylor. This was Aaron Glenn on Friday talking about him potentially weighing a quarterback change, and the way he speaks sounds a lot like the way he was talking ahead of the Bengals game where Tyrod Taylor was supposed to start before he was unable to travel the team with a knee injury. So based on this, I'm assuming that Tyrod Taylor will start for the Jets against the Ravens. Take a listen to Aaron Glenn on Friday talking about potentially making a quarterback change.
I think you hear that quite a bit when you get these quarterback changes is, man, I'm trying to get a spark for the team. But to me, it's more or less, man, I'm trying to make the best decision to give our guys a chance to win. Because to me, a spark is really a short-term deal. And I don't know if this is, what other coaches' decisions are. But, man, I want to make the decision to give us a chance to win. And, whatever that evaluation process come out to, just know that the reason why I make decisions that I make because it gives us the best chance to win.
So if the Jets truly want to win every single game the rest of the way and they want to win out, Tyrod Taylor is their guy. They have to start him. And I don't think Glenn wanted to bench Fields despite how bad his performance was, just given the fact that they did come out on top against the Cleveland Browns, ahead of the Jets matchup on the short week against the Patriots. And short week, Tyrod wouldn't have as much time to get ready for the start. Should have been a longer week. So the way Aaron Glenn's speaking right now, I think he's mulling a change to Tyrod Taylor, and he will make that move ahead of next week's matchup against the Baltimore Ravens. And the biggest thing for me, the bigger picture, the real reason as to why I think Aaron Glenn must bench Justin Fields for Tyrod Taylor is so we can get a fair evaluation of this roster, Josh. When you look at Justin Fields under center, it's hard to get a grasp of what the talent around him truly is. He's been that bad. He's not able to get receivers the football on a consistent basis. He's not willing to air the ball out downfield. Now, Tyrod Taylor is not a Jared Goff, is not a Baker Mayfield. He's not a perfect passer by any measure, but he is willing to take chances downfield. He is willing to attempt to thread the needle and take deep shots to his receivers. And I think that's important for this team, right? Because this team is expected to draft a rookie quarterback in April, and you want to make sure they're suited with the best supporting cast for them to come in and have success right away. And we don't know what this Jets supporting cast is right now with Justin Fields under center. I'm looking back at the All-22 and I see Mason Taylor running wide open downfield, and Justin Fields cannot get him the football. Arian Smith has not been able to find the field. When Tyrod Taylor was out there, he was able to get on the field and get some opportunities because Tyrod Taylor uses deep threats and takes chances downfield on deep passing attempts. So I think for the sake of truly and fairly evaluating the talent and ability on this roster, offensively in particular, Aaron Glenn has to make the move to Tyrod Taylor, Josh.
Yeah, that's certainly a part of it. I think you're right. Taylor is the clear and obvious move, at least for this Sunday at the bare minimum. Good point that should it have been a longer week, maybe the decision factors in to going into a tough environment in New England, going into a team that is ready to be playoff contenders, because clearly Justin Fields isn't ready to lead a team into an environment like that. But Thursday makes it kind of weird. You're also coming off 2 straight wins. So I think all that factors in to Justin Fields getting the nod Thursday night. But you're right, maybe that the fact that, well, first of all, the reason Garrett Wilson got injured against the Broncos was because of a terrible pass. But
he
maybe
hyperextended his knee because of Fields throwing him a hospital ball.
Yep, maybe the reason that we look around and we say, oh, they drafted Arian Smith with a 4th-round pick. I know 4th-round picks don't pan out all the time, but you'd at least expect something from this guy where, 11 weeks in, 12 weeks in now, and, what's he done? Well, maybe it's because Justin Fields can't attempt to pass past the first down sticks. It's a miracle if he even tries to throw the ball past the line of scrimmage. So we really don't know at this point whether it's Arian Smith, whether it's Mason Taylor, whether both of these guys can elevate their play to be Pro Bowl level caliber players. That might be a stretch at this point, but certainly when you're talking about a quarterback who can barely get a screen pass off, you are not going to be able to evaluate what you have for next year coming in, what you have right now. And Connor, I don't think it's all about what you do with just next year's quarterback. It's also how you shape the entire rest of the offseason, whether that means going to get another weapon, whether that means you're all right where you are. The Jets have 5 first-round picks over the next 2 years. They best better figure out where those picks need to be allocated Right now, what they're doing is they're letting an inexperienced quarterback play. And I like what Justin Fields, what his upside was heading into the season. We'll take a
Yes.
1-year flyer on the guy. We'll see if his potential can somehow bloom. We'll see if we can get something out of him that Pittsburgh, that Chicago could not. But at this point in the season, you have to turn to a quarterback who can
Yes.
competently lead an NFL offense, who can throw the football, and then try your luck elsewhere. Right now, starting Justin Fields makes no sense. The first reason why you started him in week 1 was because you wanted to see what you could get out of him. You know what you have at this point, and it's god-awful.
Smash the like button, hit subscribe. He's Josh Woolever. I'm Connor Long, right here with you guys on a Sunday edition of the Next Gen Jets Show. 89 of you guys watching us live, be sure to smash the like button, hit subscribe. That is the free way to support us, what we're doing right here on the channel. Questions, comments, thoughts, throw all of those in the chat for us to get to. You guys call into the show with the link pinned at the top of the chat and the video description down below. First up here on the show as we head over to the phone lines, the great Kyle Clifton, who joins us right here on the Next Gen Jet Show. Kyle, how you doing, my friend?
What's up, Josh and Connor? How are you?
Doing well.
Pretty good, Kyle.
So, the unwillingness for this regime to move past obvious mistakes is troubling. Like saying that Fields needed to be coached up, that they could do it. Okay, we bought in because we knew the talent that he had with his legs and how he could be special in that regard. Although we had seen him, and we figured if they tailored a game plan to him, maybe we could survive as a bridge. But once you get to be 9 or 10 games in, and you're seeing this nonsense, the unwillingness to kind of move past him is troubling. The unwillingness to move past Alan Lazard is troubling. The unwillingness to move past Tony Adams is troubling.
Adaptability. That's what it is. Just like adapt.
The unwillingness to move past Michael Clemens is super troubling. Like, I don't know what else to say beyond that. Like, it seems like they did some stuff because they thought they were the smartest guys in the room, right?
Yeah.
Arian Smith, they thought this team needed a speed element. They can't get the ball down the field to them, even if they could utilize that speed element. So why don't you, if you are really honest about assessing the talent on this, just take the best player available, whoever that is in the top 20, right? Because you're sitting there, whatever it was, 108, 109, 110. Take a guy, whether it's a backup offensive lineman, whether it's a linebacker, get someone who can help you win football games. Because this team has depth issues. They had, and trading up for Tyler Barron, I like Muji, right? I think that some of these deals have been really innovative and smart, and he got maximum value in for these 2-star players. But Tyler Barron can't sniff the field. So what did they do in trading up for Tyler Barron?
But he was a 6th round pick, so you give it a little bit of leeway.
Yeah, but you gave up an extra draft pick to go get him as well. And I was a huge fan of the pick at the time. I've been on the record saying he was my favorite value selection. I stand by that. Like, I really, really, really like Tyler Barron coming out of college. And there have been misses by this regime. Overall, I put far more of the blame on Aaron Glenn than I do Darren Muji, because Aaron Glenn gets final say. You can't tell me that Darren Muji is the one making the final decisions here. When Woody Johnson referred to Muji, as Glenn's sidekick at their introductory press conference, that really told me all I need to know as it pertains to a hierarchy within this organization and where they stand. I think Muji's been pretty solid, and Glenn, there's been an issue there. But I think all of the issues when it comes to the media, when it comes to the headlines that he's creating, are all self-inflicted, because, Kyle, you're a fan, I'm a fan. When Aaron Glenn came in this offseason, he took expectations that were very low regarding this football team and didn't promise utopia but promised that this isn't the same old Jets. We're going to win football games. We are going to be competitive in every game. And he wanted to put a product out there that this fan base would be proud of. And then, of course, 2 weeks later, after they, 2 weeks ago, once they trade away Sauce Gardner and Quentin Williams, he backtracks those comments. But I think a lot of the issues when it comes to Glenn clashing with reporters, members of this fan base getting disappointed in Aaron Glenn, a lot of it is self-inflicted.
And I think Josh's point is well taken. You don't mind missing on the 6th as much.
Yeah.
However, you can't ignore the fact that, Terrell Davis was a 6th-round pick and Kirk Cousins was a 4th-round pick.
Tom Brady.
And Tom Brady. Like, if you're diligent enough and you have a plan for these guys and you do your scouting, you're more likely to hit. And, when you have, obvious depth issues and you have, a roster that's going to be in flux because we've been losing with the same guys for 3 years, then do me a favor and see if you can trade back and get extra picks and fill out some of that depth instead of trading up and saying, I need to go get Tyler Barron or Arian Smith or whomever. I appreciate your time, guys.
Kyle, thank you for the call,
Mr.
my
Clifton.
friend. Well said there. I mean, I think he brings up some certain some fair points there, certainly. And it's hard to argue with what he said. A player that I will give Darren Mushi credit for finding on day 3 is Kiko Mawinoa. Kiko has been able to start several games for the team this year. He has provided solid value, went out there on the field. So he certainly hasn't been all that great when it comes to hitting on his day 3 picks from this year's draft. Tyler Barron, an obvious miss. Arian Smith hasn't been able to find the field and make an impact, primarily due to quarterback play. So again, going back to the original point that it's hard to evaluate what this roster currently holds when you have Justin Fields out there at the quarterback position. But Kiko Mawinoa, I spoke to him a few weeks ago. He is very excited where the direction of this football team is headed. He's someone who has a high motor, who has been able to make plays, and I think, is the future of this linebacker room alongside Jamie Sherwood, because I do think we're going to reach the harsh reality that Quincy Williams will walk this offseason. And it's nothing against Quincy personally. It just boils down to the fact that he's going to ask for a lot of money, and the Jets aren't in a position right now where they're going to want to dish out a premium amount of cash to a second linebacker after they gave Jamie Sherwood $45 million last offseason.
All fair points. Just to relate it back to your original statement about the one day 3 pick being hit on. You also have to remember we have focused obviously a lot on this season because it has been a massive teardown at the deadline. There has been all this talk of a new quarterback coming to town, and that's the most exciting thing a rebuilding franchise can get. You take a step back, this is Darren Mushi's first year as a GM, so maybe years down the line, he has certainly bought his ticket to be this team's general manager, whether you like it or not, for multiple years down the line. At least gives himself times to try and hit on these first and second round picks that he just stockpiled for. So maybe you do what Mr. Clifton mentions. You trade back, you get a couple day 2, day 3 picks, and you start hitting on them. But with all this buzz about all this in-season stuff, you got to remember, he's only actually completed 1 draft. So still a lot of uncertainties to go forward in the future.
Smash the like button, hit subscribe. Josh Woolever, Connor Long, right here with you guys on a Sunday edition of the Next Gen Jet Show. Questions, comments, thoughts, throw all of those in the chat. We'll wrap with those. We'll do a little Q&A to close out the show. We see everyone in the chat, so load everything up. Indy, good to see you. So that will be the reasoning y'all say Fields needs to be benched. Isn't even close to why I think he needs to be bench. Not quite sure what that means, but good to see you, Wendy. BBA, good to see you, says let Fields cook. Thomas says I'd take Josh Woolever over Fields.
I don't think you would, but
tough to argue. Genergy in the building. Good to see you. Appreciate the support, my friend. Thomas is based on Fields' 2-year contract and Quinnen trade asking for a 27 first. I think the plan is to wait until 27 to draft a quarterback. And we've kind of had those conversations before. I want the Jets to get their guy when it comes to this rebuild. I want Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn to be able to take these draft picks and allocate it towards the quarterback they think is their guy. So if their guy isn't in this year's draft, I'm okay waiting until 2027 because the Jets have all these premium assets. This is the quarterback that Muji and Glenn will ride and die by. So I don't want this rebuild to all of a sudden feel rushed on their part if their guy isn't in this year's draft. So I'm perfectly okay waiting until the 2027 draft if their QB is in that class. And the problem is that a lot of Jet fans ultimately circle back to is it fair to trust Glenn and Muji to evaluate quarterbacks and take the right guy? Look, as someone covering this team, at this point, I think it's fair to say no, because what have they shown us as it pertains to QB evaluations? Lackluster material there. But as it going back to Thomas's question there, I don't know about how much Fields' contract has to play into that. I do not think Fields is the starter. I think Tyrod Taylor has a better chance of being the week 1 starter in 2026 than Fields. But I do see a world where they could potentially wait until 2027 to take a quarterback.
Yeah, I would say there's an asterisk there. I don't think there's every possible scenario in which Muji and Glenn are. Remember, this is a guy who is still 2 years out. So, Connor, even if you think the guy has potential, he could tear an ACL next college season, and you could be staring at a blank slate saying, oh, shoot, maybe we should have gotten somebody in the 26 class while we had our surefire chance. So, you got to be really confident in a guy to stay away from this year's class solely because of one guy, or at the same time, you got to be really unconfident in the guys that are in this class in order to bank on the upside of the next class. Obviously, the story with the draft is the image gets clearer and clearer as you go along. It's like, you're walking somewhere. You don't see it when you start your walk, but the closer you get, the bigger it gets. So you'll understand the bigger picture once you get there. It certainly is a risk-reward situation. The asterisk I would say is if you're in a situation like Tennessee was last draft and you have that number 1 pick, I do not think it's fair to pass up on whatever you want. You could trade back, but I don't think if you have the number 1 pick, you can pass up on a quarterback because you are not guaranteeing yourself a situation as good as that in the next season. I would say if you have the number 1 pick, you pretty much have to go quarterback. If you're sitting in that 5 through 6 range and your guy would require a trade up, I could certainly see a case where they say, okay, well, let's go get a 1-year filler quarterback out on the market, wait another year, try our luck in that draft where they also have an additional first-round pick.
Reluctant Earthling says, are they juggling Fields' ground success against trying not to get him hurt? And then says, also, are they hoping Fields' pass game consistency will develop if they keep at it? Well, Aaron Glenn was asked that very question after Thursday night's game, and he responded with, quote, we're not trying to put him in harm's way, which I think is just a ridiculous answer, because the reason that fans got excited about the possibility of Justin Fields having success here, not only his upside, but the ability to use his legs, to have a mobile quarterback. And without his legs, Justin Fields, you might as well put nobody out there at the quarterback position if you're not going to use his legs. That's how bad he has been as a passer. So, look, if you want
the Army West Point offense, the direct snap to the running back
every
play.
Raid, baby. If you want to justify keeping Justin Fields out there every single week, you have to use his legs at the very least.
Yeah, and also back to the original point there. Are they here was it? Are they trying to not get him hurt? Or this is what I wanted to refer to. Consistency will develop if they keep at it. Do we think that Aaron Glenn is worried about consistently developing this guy? You had a whole off season to do so, and it clearly didn't work out. No, week 12 is not the time to try and start adding tool sets to this guy's developmental process. I think that would be flat out ridiculous. And if they do try that, that entails starting Justin Fields multiple more weeks, giving him as many chances as he can get. Connor, I think I, and a majority of the Jet fan base has seen more than enough to know that this guy isn't developing into anything more.
It's not even that. Like, when do we just say the developmental stage, not only for Fields or any NFL quarterback, is coming to an end? Justin Fields is now in year 5 of his NFL career.
Right.
And there are people out there still talking about him and his development. If you look at the teams that are successful in the league year in and year out, if they use a top pick on a quarterback and he doesn't work out within the first few years, they pivot. That's what the Bears did with Justin Fields after the 2023 season. They said, hey, we used a top 15 pick on you. It's evident you're not going to work out here. We're going to turn off of you. And then 2 years later, we're looking at a Chicago Bears team that is currently 7-4 and in prime position.
7-3.
7-3, excuse me, and in prime position to make a playoff push. So
yes.
I think that is, something that good organizations do. So the question that I think a lot of people should be asking is not only with Fields, but with a lot of NFL quarterbacks, when do we say the development is over?
Yeah. I mean, we got to cut this out, guys. He's not developing anymore. He could be a backup somewhere, but that doesn't mean he's developing.
Smash the like button, hit subscribe. Josh Woolever, Connor Long, right here with you guys on a Sunday edition of the Next Gen Jet Show. Again, questions, comments, thoughts in the chat. Call into the show with the link pinned at the top of the chat in the video description down below. Keeping it going with your calls. Okay, Alan is next up here on the program. Alan, your Ravens won today. Are you hoping that they can win next Sunday against the Jets?
Come on, Connor. You really have to ask that question, Connor. Come on.
Kind of a rhetorical question.
Yeah, pretty much. Good evening, gentlemen. I really enjoyed chatting with both of you guys. Thank God the one of the other guys isn't here, so it's good when the two smart people are on the show. I want to piggyback on what Josh said as far as if the Jets somehow, some way fall into that number one pick.
Yeah,
I think that might be the only way I would definitely consider taking the quarterback. Because I know if Tennessee has the number one pick, they will hold that pick up for hostage. And I don't see either Mendoza or Simpson being guys that I want to trade future capital for.
Yeah. And it'd be tough capital too. You saw it with the Carolina and Chicago trade. Yeah. That's how Carolina got the number one pick to get Bryce Young. Next year, they have the number one pick, and it turns right over. So they had to give up their first in that year and then their next first to move up, 5 slots? So that was a ridiculous haul that they're probably biting their fingers about right now.
I listen to a lot of Jet fans, and I think the worst part about some of the Jet fans is they lack patience. The Jets are in a golden opportunity right now with the 5 first-round picks in the next 2 years and the 8 top 2-round picks in the next 2 years. With all the money they have in cap space and everything, they can slow play this to the point where they can have teams come to them and go get their picks and get additional picks. I don't want to force a quarterback onto this team in 2026. It doesn't make sense. And I like Mendoza. I think Mendoza is a good player. He was really good yesterday throwing the football. He took a couple of needless sacks, in my opinion. He took 5 sacks against Wisconsin, and I think 2 or 3 of those are balls that he needs to throw away. So there's definitely limitations in his game. I worry that at this point by draft time, I think Muji and Glenn will not be on the same page. I think Muji seems like a guy who takes his time, and I think Glenn realizes that if he comes across with another 3-14 season, he might be gone after 2 years. I think the Jets need to slow play this whole rebuild to the point where they're going to have 4 picks in the top 50, utilize them, and hopefully maybe a team calls up and wants the indie pick, and maybe they can have additional picks in the top 50 or in the top 75. There's so many holes on this roster right now that you can really improve this roster in the next 2 years to the point where the Jets could be a factor by 2028. They really could if they play this correctly. I just don't want them to go all in on a quarterback in 2026 and give up valuable 2027 capital, because that's a generational draft, in my opinion. I mean, there's going to be 4 or 5 guys in that quarterback class that I think are better than everybody in this class. There's going to be 3 generational wide receivers in that class. There's going to be some really good pass rushers in that class. You have 3 first-round picks. You can't touch them just because you have an inkling that Fernando Mendoza is going to be the guy. I just don't know if he's the guy. I think he's a smart, cerebral quarterback, but he definitely has limitations in his throwing. That's the problem.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when you talk about potentially going BPA in this year's draft, I'm okay with that. As long as they don't take a safety or an offensive tackle, I'm perfectly fine. Caleb Downs, I know, is the talk of the town in summer scouting.
They won't. I shock if they took a safety.
Yeah, I just I understand BPA, but taking a safety in the top 5 is just ridiculous in my opinion. Yes. I don't care, how generational he is. You can't take a safety with that pick, and you really can't take another offensive tackle. This would be now 3 years in a row of you taking an offensive tackle, and obviously they wouldn't be on the field for you right away. But I think anything is on the table. I keep hearing the buzz about Arvell Reese out of Ohio State.
He is the best player in the draft. I think the 2 best talents in this draft are him and a running back in Jeremiah Love. Jeremiah Love, in my opinion, is a top 3 player in the draft. I'm not saying that the Jets should take him, but in my opinion, I think he's a top 3 talent in this draft. Maybe a team wants him and thinks he can rev up their offense going forward, but I wouldn't take a running back at the top 3.
No, I also think Ruben Bain is up there. Just watching that guy,
I worry about his arm length. That's the only problem.
The arm. He's also on the bigger side too. I don't like having an edge rusher per se who's 270, 275 pounds. That is a concern. But watching the damage that he does off the edge every single week, and the pressures and the sacks, and his finesse as a run defender as well, he's certainly in that conversation. I hear all the buzz about Jordan Tyson. I think Jordan Tyson's a good player. I don't think he's a Jeremiah Smith level.
No, I think the top 3 receivers in this draft are fine players. I think they're 1B type of players. I mean, I watched Iowa yesterday play against Mekhi Lemon. I think he's a guy who can separate. I don't think he's the bigger of receivers, but he's a guy that can get open extremely well. I think the one thing about the 2026 draft that people will realize is, to me, I think the more picks you have in the 20 to 55 range, the better you are. I don't think it's a top-heavy draft at all. I think it's a draft where you can get yourself an edge in that 20 to 55 range. You can get yourself a wide receiver too. You can get yourself a safety. You can get yourself an offensive guard if you trade back. I think that's the way the Jets should attack the draft if they don't get that number 1 pick. And again, I am not moving any assets to get any of these quarterbacks. I'm just not doing it.
Here's the thing. You should never, ever, ever be missing on a top 50 pick. It's just unacceptable. But here's the problem, Alan, and to go back to your point about why people want to trade up for this quarterback, get your guy, let's go develop him. By the time we're done with the 27 class and we got him with some weapons, he'll be fully developed. This team will be ready to push for the playoffs. Why people are saying that is because just look at the last 5 years, and let me just name you some second, third round picks.
I know.
Elijah Moore, Denzel Mims, Malachi Corley, the list goes on of people that the Jets think they can surround their franchise quarterback with, who are complete and utter failures. There's no reason that you should be missing on top 50 picks, but this organization consistently figures out a way to do so. So I completely agree with everything you said. But I think that the reason people are fed up with this taking it slow thing, Alan, is because you say you want to trade back into the top 50, acquire more picks, get out of your top spot, let somebody come chasing, and you'd rather get 2 top 50 picks than 1 top 6 pick. That's great, but this organization, I just think, has seen time and time again that they cannot figure out how to consistently surround their quarterbacks with new weapons. Hopefully that changes. It's a new regime. Mason Taylor's already trending up. Armand Membu looks great, and those were their 2 top 50 picks. So we're off to a hot start, but that's what I got to say. Also, Alan, can't respect the hat today because I'm a South Carolina fan, and that
you gotta play 60 minutes, Josh. 60 minutes.
The biggest embarrassment on a football field.
Sellers, I mean,
He is brutal.
Ever seen.
he's
He's
like
brutal.
Anthony Richardson. Like I see him coming into the league and being like,
You're a Gamecock fan, Josh?
Yeah, me and
Okay,
DT.
so I will give you 2 points before I leave. Number one, he should not even sniff the pros this year. That's
no,
number
yeah,
one.
I agree. I think he should stay back.
And
to
number
raise his
two,
stock.
he should transfer.
yes, I
Okay.
agree.
He should leave.
Where?
I would try. You see, let me see. Let's see if a Lane Kiffin goes to Florida, go there, or if Lane Kiffin goes to LSU, go there. Like,
I just think he's they South Carolina.
he's damaged goods there.
Their
He's
team around his running ability. He got his brother, who's a freshman wide receiver, who's his favorite target at South Carolina. So unless he wants to transfer with him, that might be tough. And it's like his whole thing is that South Carolina is his hometown thing. But I agree. At the end of the day, I think in the modern college football, it's all about doing, unfortunately, what's best for your pockets and what's best for your future in the pros.
I would have hoped he could have transferred to Indiana, but I don't think that's the type of quarterback that Cignetti would want.
Yeah,
I think
and Mendoza's brother is right in line to follow him up.
The name I keep hearing to go to Indiana is a guy who actually is 25 minutes from me. And that's Drew Mestamaker out of North Texas. That's a kid you will hear in the portal who will be making $2 to $3 million. He's out in North Texas. They're 9-1. They're very close to making
that group of 5 seed.
They're number 2. I think they're right behind James Madison right now. So hopefully a James Madison loss and a North Texas win would propel him there. So, but I appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much. And the more you do, the two of you, and the less you bring number 3, the better the show is.
How about number 4? Where do you stand on him?
I don't know. I'm a little neutral on him. I don't even know much about him, but you know number 3.
I mean, Connor can show you what he's made of.
I appreciate it, guys. Okay, have a good one. Go
Thank you,
Bye,
Alan. We appreciate the support. As always, thank you for that, Alan. We appreciate you calling in. You know, Josh, if the people like it, I might have to weigh some serious business decisions here because
interesting.
I'm just playing. we
might have to make some moves in the transfer.
We might have to
portal.
work the waiver wire. Let's put it that way. We might have to work the waiver wire. It's like cut down day.
Okay. So you want to get into what are you thinking? 3-man roster?
2?
Wow.
Smash the like button, hit subscribe. Josh,
wow.
I'm Connor.
Our UDFAs are dropping like flies here.
On the next Gen Jet show. Questions, comments, thoughts, throw all those in the chat. We're going to get to those. Call into the show with a link pinned at the top of the chat and in the video description down below. Joe just says Jets back at number 5 in the draft, which means they'll be stuck at drafting a linebacker or safety at 5. LOL. What a joke. That's
the one thing you can't do. You can't just go. I agree. Best player available is awesome, but let's get some skill position in here.
Thomas, a lot of the bottom teams, Browns, Saints, Titans, Giants, Raiders, all play each other. We still get a top 3 pick, even if we finish with 4 wins. Like, draft position doesn't matter. I've said it a ton of times. Like, I get it. You want the higher pick, but it really isn't as significant as I think most fans are making it out to be.
Don't tell Thing 3 about that. He was exploding in the group chat about us celebrating the Jets beating the Cleveland Browns. He said, it's not significant enough of a win.
Oh, yeah, we haven't done a show since that. No. Well, for context here, we can pull up text proof if needed. Chris was in denial every time the Jets. He tried to make it out that he was so rooting for a Jets win.
He was so rooting for them to lose. Kanane Nwangu touchdown, and he goes, no, Garrett Wilson fantasy points. I need him this week.
He claimed that he was still rooting for a win.
Did you send him that Browns jersey?
No, I mean, we could send him a Malachi Corley jersey. Because he was a big Corley fan, and Corley is with the Browns, of course. But yeah, I mean, Chris was in denial every big play. My favorite was like when the game was so out of question and it was over. He was like, "No way, the Browns didn't jump. No."
Yeah, he was complaining about flags against Cleveland.
Browns didn't jump. The other one was the call where Fields.
It was a late hit on Fields. Yep.
Yeah,
that was a clear and obvious penalty when I believe he was sliding. He got popped in the shoulder pad, fell down, and then Chris was like, "Well, how could you flag that?"
Not according to crew chief Grasso. Not
And
according-
defensive coordinator Grasso.
Keep that in mind as well, folks. Let's see where we are in the chat. Ricardo says Titan will take Mendoza. I do not think they are taking another quarterback.
No, they can't.
They can. It's a new regime, so they have a chance.
I'll
Like,
trade that pick.
what do you do with Cam? Would you trade for Cam Ward?
No.
Would you trade? Okay, a 6th round pick for
Yeah.
Cam
Yes.
Ward.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
They just wouldn't do
yes,
that.
yes. What?
They just wouldn't do that. Would you trade a 3rd round pick for Cam Ward?
That's right on the bubble. 4th and up, definitely. 3rd's right on the bubble. So
See, I think like
that's like 70 something.
Yeah.
I'll go
Is
yes.
like 70s,
I'll go
80s.
yes. I'll play devil's advocate. Yes.
Okay.
I don't
this
think he's good, but you're talking about a former number 1 pick here.
Yeah.
Like from a year ago. Like
I
he's
think
still
something. I think the possibility that is interesting that fans should start to explore is, let's say their guy is not in.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's
2020.
Okay.
Yeah. The guy's in 2027. You don't want to go back to Tyrod. You can't go back to Fields. So it's completely fresh.
No, what I'm saying is, like, let's say their guy isn't in the early rounds and they're waiting until 27. I think a possibility that fans should explore is, again, let's say
isn't in the early rounds or isn't in the draft entirely.
Isn't in the draft, but like, my point is, there's a possibility the Jets could like take a guy on day 2 or day 3 who could like come in and just you see what you have in him. Someone I'm tapping is like John Mateer. I really, really like John Mateer. In that day 2, day 3 range. So I think that's a possibility that, fans could potentially leave the door open for, because there are some guys. I mean, Drew Aller, if you can draft him in the 5th, 6th round, have him turn into a career backup, like that's a win for
DJ Lagway.
He's not going to come out this year.
Yeah,
he's been terrible.
And also, that's a train wreck of a season in Florida.
Yeah. Even a guy like Carson Beck, a guy like someone who I don't think.
Beck, I can't do, bro.
I'm standing by Carson Beck. We don't tolerate any Carson Beck slander here. A quarterback that I don't think enough people are talking about. Granted, it's against poor competition, but someone I'd be willing to take a late round flyer on is Darian Mensah from Duke. He's someone who continues to improve week in and week out. It's catching the national eye. I like Diego Pavia. He's just too old.
Miller Moss?
Miller Moss is another guy. I think he has to come out this year, right?
Yes. No, he will. I would take a 4th round pick on Miller Moss. Please.
Someone I do like is Rocco Beck. As I look down at like my big board on the guys I've watched, I like Rocco.
Yeah, have you watched
Beck.
any Moss yet?
I've not. I saw like a little of him from USC, but that was still a while ago.
Yeah.
So I'll have to look back at him. Someone I haven't watched.
He hits the transfer portal every year.
Yeah. Someone I haven't watched, but I continue to see like rise up is Tommy Castellanos out of Florida
Castellanos.
State.
Yeah.
Castellanos. I haven't seen him. Talon Green, another guy from Arkansas. Brendan Sorsby from Cincinnati has been getting a ton of hype, and I just haven't had the time to watch him
because there's a ton of names.
Yeah, there are so many names out there, and again, it's going to be interesting to see what the
and then the question is, you take a 5th, a 6th round pick on one of these guys, any of them that we just mentioned there, and then is the move after that to bring in, a Jameis Winston-esque player, just any career backup,
so we're gonna
have a competition for the starting job, or are you just giving that 5th round pick the ball?
Yeah, so I'm gonna actually talk about some bridge QB options throughout the course of this week as we preview the Ravens game. We're gonna have a handful of guests come on the show, but the name that I mentioned briefly yesterday, I wrote about him for Jets X Factor, and we're gonna do a deeper dive later on this in a later show. Mac Jones, like the possibility of trading for Mac Jones.
Yes, I saw that article.
Yeah, really, really, really excites me. He has been solid this year. He's led the 49ers to 5 of their 7 wins this year.
Yeah. So, and the problem is the Niners already are hooked on the contract of Purdy, so they're committed, and when he's healthy, they are forced to play him.
That's my thought process. So he's led them to a 5-3 record, 7.4 yards an attempt, 70% completion rate, 97.4 passer rating,
But
a
he was
13
so
to
unwatchable
6
in New England. Like he
ratio
was
of touchdowns to interceptions. But he had no
so bad in New
he had
England.
no coaching. He had no weapons. He had no offensive line. Like Sam Darnold. This is like Sam Darnold to me.
Yeah,
This is Sam Darnold. Like,
that's the thing. A lot of times these rookie quarterbacks with these top picks come into teams that are in a desperate situation. I would give an exception to Washington last year with Daniels, but they expect this franchise quarterback to come in and solve all their problems. Like, great, you got your quarterback with the first pick in Cam Ward. That doesn't mean he can catch the ball. That doesn't mean he can protect himself.
It's 13 touchdowns to 6 interceptions, Eric. It's not 6 TDs. 13 touchdowns over 8 starts. Like, that's solid. He can run. He can use his legs. He has that mobility to get out of the pocket. And the biggest thing for me too, you'd pay because you'd have to trade for him, so like you'd give up value there. But he signed a 2-year.
Much. You'd have all the
a day 2 pick. Like I would give a third.
You would have all of the leverage.
I would give 2 fourths. I would give.
You would give what?
2 fourths. You could like talk me into a third and a fourth, but I would do 2 fourths for Mac Jones.
What if they just asked for a third and a fifth?
I would do it.
Okay.
It's in that range for me. And the thing is, he's so cost effective too. His 2026 base salary, as I look down right here, is $2.8 million. That's affordable. He's a low risk option. And the biggest thing that I added in this article that you have to keep in mind is if the Jets cut Justin Fields, they will be paying quarterbacks not on their roster $57 million next season total. Let's say they hold on to Fields, they still owe the 35 to Aaron Rodgers. And the thing that makes Jones different from all these other bridge options out there is, like, for example, Jacoby Brissett, Kirk Cousins, Marcus Mariota. We know who they are. They're guys who can get you through a few games. They're very low-end starters, high-end, middle-of-the-road backups. A Kyler Murray trade would make no sense. Like, Jones is different.
But, I mean, that's what Tyrod Taylor is it not?
Well, it is, and it doesn't make sense to go into next year with Tyrod. Jones is like the calculated gambler. He's 27 years old. He's led San Francisco to a winning record this year, a affordable contract, and let's say, the Jets could still draft their rookie guy. The Jets could still get their quarterback in April. Jones is the ideal bridge guy who can help guide that rookie QB, push the offense forward, keep the team competitive. So I don't want to give away the topic too much because it's a deep dive I'm really going to go into this week, but that possibility, man, excites me.
Let me ask you, in a utopian world where this comes to fruition, you get your double 4 swap for Jones, it all works out, and let's just think perfect of the perfects, 10-win season. Is there a chance where you consider not taking a quarterback? Or
I don't even want to answer that.
If there is, taking like a 7th rounder, I know it's far off. There's just so many moving pieces to get to that point. So we don't have to go in depth on that, but just a thought. Just a thought. A lot of directions to go.
Sam Darnold 2.0. Well, I'm telling you, folks. I'm telling you.
I mean, you get a lot of these guys the weapons, and they're competent, but when you just draft them with your top pick and nobody around them and expect them to turn your franchise around, not really how it works.
And a lot of things that people say with Sam Darnold is they try to say, oh, his success in Minnesota, Kyle Shanahan, he's not going to have success anywhere else. Not Kyle Shanahan, Kevin O'Connell. I don't know. I was thinking of Mac Jones there. Kevin O'Connell, he's not going to have success anywhere else. It's just in Minnesota because Kevin O'Connell's a great coach, and he is. Kevin O'Connell is a once-in-a-generation, in my opinion, head coach. A lot of people said that about Sam Darnold. He went to the Seattle Seahawks, and he hasn't been great these past 2 weeks, but in general has been in the MVP conversation with a 40-year-old defensive-minded head coach and Clint Kubiak as his offensive coordinator. Also, Jones being around Shanahan right now only helps him and his development as a player, while also keeping in mind that Shanahan does a lot of things that the Jets want to do offensively, a lot of motion, a lot of play action, a lot of things like that. So important to keep in mind. Josh, super fun show, my friend. Great doing this with you. As always, everyone, smash the like button, hit subscribe. You got any final thoughts here before we let you go? And we wrap things up right here on this Sunday edition of the Next Gen Jet Show.
Not really, nothing much. Glad the Nets got their second win of the year tonight against a terrible Washington team in a
With
battle of the
8
tank.
people in the crowd. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, exactly. They really showed out for that one. But good to talk to you. Appreciate everyone who listened along with us. Very interesting show. A lot of good topics. 2 really good calls. Quality info spewed out there. Connor, always a pleasure to get the opportunity to join you. Can't wait for this time next week. And look, this is a Sunday where the Jets played primetime, so didn't get ruined by a loss. And, loss is kind of already out the window for me to a good New England team. But all in all, appreciate it.
Ladies and gentlemen, for Josh Woolever, I'm Connor Long, right here on the Next Gen Jet Show, saying have a great rest of your evening, everyone. And as always,
Jets.